Right now, thousands of men are sitting in their cars after work, engine off, just staring into the silence, because that silence feels safer than going home. They aren't lazy, cold, or commitment phobic. They're simply exhausted from the emotional load, the relationship stress men quietly carry, and the constant pressure of modern relationship psychology that keeps telling them they should be tougher, more available, and never overwhelmed. And yet, they are overwhelmed. Some are already wondering if men choosing peace is becoming the new survival instinct. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When you see men walking away, when a silent breakup men scenario happens, or when a guy chooses solitude instead of staying, it's rarely about not loving enough. It's usually about emotional burnout men face in a relationship dynamic that feels like a never-ending negotiation. Modern dating burnout is real, and many men are quietly reaching the point where men choosing themselves feels like the only path to emotional safety. The shocking part? It's not an accident, it's a pattern, almost a system. And today, you'll finally understand why men leave relationships, why so many are men done with relationships, and why the masculine identity crisis is making peaceful masculinity more desirable than romance. I'll also show you what men are starting to do to protect their peace and rebuild male emotional health, even if that means men staying single or men giving up on dating. And stick around because there's a simple test that reveals whether you too are already slipping into the mindset of men seeking peace without even realizing it. The hidden emotional load men carry before choosing peace. Many people don't realize how heavy the male mental load can get until a man quietly reaches the point where men walking away feels easier than explaining himself again. He often holds back his frustration, trying to stay calm, thinking it'll fix itself, but it rarely does. Modern relationship psychology has created this expectation that men must absorb emotional storms without showing cracks. And he does, until he can't anymore. That's when the idea of men choosing peace starts whispering in his ear, softly at first, then louder. Imagine a man who's constantly being told to open up, but is shut down every time he tries. He starts seeing patterns, arguments over small things, emotional manipulation men often can't quite name, or drama that drains him daily. Over time, he feels the emotional burnout men experience when they're always the stabilizer, never the supported one. This isn't weakness, it's accumulated exhaustion. And little by little, walking away for peace starts feeling less like quitting and more like survival. He might try things like journaling at night, listening to podcasts about male emotional health, or reading books like The Way of the Superior Man, just to understand why he's so drained. Maybe he even goes to the gym more, not just for his body, but to clear his mind from relationship stress. Men aren't supposed to talk about. He starts protecting his peace in small ways: longer showers, longer drives, more time alone. And that quiet shift is the exact signal that leads into the next layer, the test that reveals whether a man is truly reaching his limit. The reality test, the moment a man realizes the pattern isn't an accident. There's a simple test many men fail to notice. The next time he tries to bring up something that hurt him, he pays attention to what happens. If the conversation instantly turns into blame, sarcasm, or emotional dodging, he sees a pattern. This is where men withdrawing emotionally begins, not because they want distance, but because they're tired of being punished for honesty. And every time this happens, the quiet conclusion forms. This isn't a coincidence, it's a system. In this test, he also watches how quickly things escalate. Maybe he says, "I felt disrespected," and suddenly he's defending his tone, his timing, and his entire childhood. That's when men avoiding drama realize they're not avoiding responsibility, they're avoiding chaos. It's the moment where male self-respect and male emotional boundaries start taking root. He stops trying to win conversations and starts trying to preserve his sanity. And this small shift fuels the larger awakening behind men choosing themselves. To make this test practical, he might try a small experiment. Say what he feels in one sentence, calmly, one time. If that one sentence becomes a 45-minute interrogation, he knows he's not dealing with communication. He's dealing with emotional overload. Men overwhelmed in relationships learn this reality fast, and once a man sees this pattern clearly, he can't unsee it, which takes him directly to the next stage, naming the hidden system that's been draining him for years. This is what many mentors call the cycle of unreciprocated stability, the pattern where a man is expected to be the emotional anchor, even when no one anchors him. It's the system that creates male resentment in relationships without men even realizing it. They just feel heavier, quieter, and more distant until men withdrawing emotionally becomes second nature. It's the same pattern behind the silent breakup men experience long before the actual breakup happens. And once men identify this cycle, everything starts making sense. Take the example of a guy who's always the calm one during arguments. His partner can yell, cry, accuse, even twist his words, and he's expected to stay level-headed or be labeled toxic. Over months or years, this dynamic builds emotional manipulation. Men often misread as passion or stress. But deep down, this cycle corrodes male emotional health. And the minute he names it, he feels the shock. This isn't random, it's structural. Another real-world example, a man who works long hours, pays bills, fixes problems, and keeps life running, yet is told he's emotionally unavailable because he's tired. That's the masculine emotional exhaustion nobody teaches him to notice. And understanding this hidden system is powerful because it reveals the truth behind why men choose peace over relationships. But naming the pattern is just the beginning, because next come the invisible myths that keep men trapped inside it. The 3 invisible myths that keep men trapped. Myth 1. A strong man should handle everything. This myth convinces men that relationship stress men feel is a personal failure instead of a shared responsibility. It tells them that if they're overwhelmed, they're weak, even when they're carrying the weight of 2 people. Think of a man juggling a job, bills, emotional support, and constant criticism, all while being told to man up. This is how emotional burnout men experience becomes normalized. And the punchline? Strength isn't absorbing everything. Strength is knowing what not to carry. Myth 2. If he loved me, he'd read my mind. Men done with relationships usually break at this one. It's emotional manipulation. Men rarely recognize it first, because it's framed as romantic intuition. But expecting mind reading is how modern dating burnout quietly forms. For example, he asks, "What's wrong?" and hears, "If you cared, you'd know." The punchline is simple. Love isn't psychic. Love is communicated. And this myth alone pushes many men into men choosing solitude just for peace. Myth 3. His time is flexible, hers is valuable. This myth shows up when men are expected to cancel plans, give rides, solve last-minute emergencies, and be emotionally available on demand. Meanwhile, when he finally needs something, everyone suddenly has a lot going on. This imbalance creates male resentment in relationships and fuels men protecting their peace. A man might miss the gym, hobbies, even rest, until he realizes he's sacrificing his life for someone who wouldn't sacrifice 20 minutes for him. And this realization sets the stage for the next truth: how culture reinforces every one of these myths. How culture reinforces the system that pushes men toward peace. Everywhere he looks, culture tells him he should tolerate more than he feels, give more than he has, and stay longer than is healthy. Movies glorify the self-sacrificing man who absorbs drama without breaking. Social media amplifies the narrative that men avoiding drama are emotionally immature, when in reality, they're men protecting their peace. Even friends and family sometimes repeat the script. That's just how women are. Deal with it. And slowly, men choosing peace becomes the only exit that makes sense. He sees couples online showcasing perfection while hiding the emotional manipulation men endure behind closed doors. He hears influencers preaching happy wife, happy life, as if male emotional health is irrelevant. Meanwhile, jokes about husbands being miserable in relationships are treated as normal. All of this conditions masculine identity crisis in silence, making men walking away look dramatic instead of logical. And this cultural pressure makes the psychological weight 10 times heavier. But culture also reinforces something deeper: the belief that a man's value comes from what he provides, not who he is. So when he pulls back to breathe, gym time, hobbies, solitude, he's labeled selfish. When men choosing freedom appears, it's mocked as immaturity instead of healing. And that's the breaking point, when he realizes the game is rigged from the start. which is exactly why the consequences of staying in this system run far deeper than most people ever admit. So here's the truth. Most people never say out loud, men choosing peace isn't a trend, a rebellion, or a phase. It's a survival instinct waking up. And now that you've seen the patterns, the myths, the cultural pressure, and the emotional burnout men silently carry, the real question becomes, what are you going to do with this awareness? Because knowledge without action just leads you right back into the same cycle you finally understand. Look at your life honestly. Are you staying in situations that drain you? Are you giving more than you receive? Are you sacrificing your mental health to keep the peace, even when it costs you your peace? And most importantly, what would your life look like if you finally chose yourself? If you protected your boundaries, honored your energy, and stopped negotiating with anything that steals your clarity? Tell me in the comments, what was your breaking point? When did you realize the emotional load was too heavy? Your story matters, more than you think. And if you want to keep learning, keep growing, and keep protecting your peace in a world that constantly tries to take it from you, then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We're building a space where men can finally breathe.